Good morning, y'all. We're in our 5 o'clock. Me and Mary in our 5 o'clock Bible studies is in my life. It's just all about Jesus. We're not gonna be perfect, but it's about Jesus. And we were just in Jeremiah 46, God's judgment on the nations. And Mary, she's coming. I mean, she's doing good, and God is going to use her greatly in the kingdom to help other women, especially single moms with kids. And she's doing good at getting up praying early in the morning, 4 and 5 o'clock, and God gets all the glory. But I was explaining here the in Jeremiah 46 that God always does things like in pairs. And I was explaining to Mary that even from the beginning, Adam and Eve, and on, through Abraham and then Noah, then Abraham, all the way up to Moses, all the way up to the people wanting a king. God always gives us the desires of our heart. And sometimes the desires of our heart might not be God's will. And just like they did in Moses' day, they murmured against Moses, they murmured against God, and God sent the serpent, which we know is the devil, okay, to bite some of them. But he merciful because of Moses cried out. See, he angered too. He's slow to anger, but God get angry too. So what I'm trying to say is that it's always two sides to the coin in the Bible. God always give us a if and a but. Okay? He always give us, if you do this, I'll do this. But if you do this, I'll do this. See what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to say here is that even with the serpent, which we know is the devil in the Bible, and he let them sting him, and then Moses went back, and God told him when he prayed, and God told Moses to hold up the snake, and everybody that looks at it would be healed, and they was automatically healed. That's symbolic of Jesus dying on the cross today. And when we look up at him, we are automatically free from the sin that would have killed us, just like they were free from the snake bite that would kill them, right? Mm-hmm. Now, getting back to this, moving on through the times, through all the kings, the people cried out for a king, God gave them a king, and then all the way up to Isaiah and Jeremiah's time, when they started writing before the little prophets Mary. God was trying to get the people from Egypt to turn back to him. When they left out of Egypt, they, even through the kings, they just continue in wickedness. Because most of the kings, I think, 3 of them or 4 of them out of maybe 13, 14 kings was wicked. So it just kept on getting wicked and wicked and wicked. And God kept on sending people to try to tell them to come out of their wickedness. So up to Jeremiah, where Jeremiah is trying to do the same thing, right? He's trying to prophesy that God is calling them to stop. That's all God do is call you to stop. A lot of us, all we need to do is stop. Stop the sin that we're committing. Stop doing the wickedness that we are doing. And then that butter come in. And then everything will start smoothing out for you. And you'll start doing what you're doing, studying and seeing clearly. If you just let that butt come in. Like right here when it reads, it says all the things that will be taken away. When you took me here, it says, also her hired men are in the midst of her. when he's saying her, he's talking about the people, Judea and the people that the nations. He called them her sometime. That's what he mean her. Okay, in the midst of her, fatlings, buttocks, and they also are turned back. Everything is turned back from God. That's what he's trying to say. Okay, they are fleed away altogether. That's like his people that I'm trying to reach, even through these little tapes, doing it my way. You know what I'm saying? This is my direct way of trying to reach out for God to his people. We got the internet now. We got Twitter. We got all this stuff. We got Facebook. And it's good to watch these things, although we should, stay in a church, a physical building, so we have a pastor and everything. And it's good to listen to these things, but we should not, like it says in Hebrews 10:25, we should not forsake the assembling of ourselves together as the day draw to a nigh, because one can chase 1,000, 10,000. We need each other. We need to come together physically and pray and stay together and sing and give God glory. You hear what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say right here is people all together just turn away from God. And it starts out little, like it did in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Just want the king, just want this, just want that, want what other people got. It starts out little, but then it grows into something big. And the first turning away for Christians is this one right here. And tell me if you agree. The first turning away for Christians is, I'm not going to church no more. You know, if you got that spirit in you, that you're turning away from God. The same way they turned away from God. And everything else, just like God say, if you follow me and turn to me, I'll bless your children, and your children. When you turn away, everything else that's connected to you in your inner circle turn away with you. That's the same way it is with who he's talking to, the nations, in this chapter right here you brought to me. Then he goes on to say, and they flee away altogether. They did not stand. Ain't no way you can stand, especially if you decide that you don't want to attend the local assemblies and be among God's people, because Satan is coming at you. He already then bid us. God set up Jesus for us to look at, that we could be delivered. If you're not looking and trying to be in the church, he set up the physical church through Peter, Paul, and all John, so we could be part of it. So right here it says, because the day of their calamity was not upon them, and the time of their visitation. Okay? And what do you mean by the days of their calamity has come upon them, a time of their visitation? God will come and visit us. He said that in the Bible. Be aware. You might be attaining an angel unaware. You see what I'm trying to say? So God will come and visit us unaware. And when God come and visit you, if you all the way turn back, he can't stand before you. That's just like an unclean temple. People think they can smoke, drink, fornicate, party, and do all this and all this sin, and think God gonna live in them on Sundays. They go to church. Hey, think God gonna live in them? He can't live in an unholy temple. He can't dwell in an unholy temple. The same thing here. Okay, but it's always that if and a but. Okay, the people right here, it says, in the day of his visitation, when he come visit you, okay, the voice thereof go like a serpent. See, that ain't nothing but the devil. Right there. The voice thereof go as a serpent. All you have to do is tie the scriptures together and look what they're saying and use the wisdom, the 5 systems you gave. The serpent in the Bible ain't nothing but the devil. Every time he say the serpent, he talking about Satan. Okay, in retrospect, you just have to tie it into the dispensation in which he talking about. He might be talking in Adam's time. He might be talking in this time. He might be talking, in the BC time, before Christ. So right here it says, for they shall march with an army and come against her with an axe and horror the wood. He talking about Satan and all his principalities of darkness coming against, really he was talking about his people, right? It ain't nothing but Satan trying to draw them in like he did. Okay? And then it says, they shall cut down the forest, said the Lord, though it cannot be searched, because they are more than the grasshoppers and are innumerable. Satan's kingdom is innumerable. That's what God trying to tell us. Okay, that's why I tell you we have to stay in the church. We have to gather ourselves together as the day draw to a nigh. If you proclaiming to be a Christian, if you proclaiming to know God, then you got to get yourself out to the facility of God, so that all the principalities, these people, these principalities of darkness out here is numberable. But as we come together with our 10,000s, we can outfeat them, and they have to flee. Then we can go back out in the world from the church to gather ourselves together and have some power to be able to stand, to defeat, just in our normal life, on our job, in our work, in our homes. See what I'm trying to say? Because we done assembled ourselves together, and we done came together, and we done defeated a lot of them. So God said, because they are innumerable, Satan's kingdom is innumerable, but they're not defeatable. Okay? Because God is in control. So right here it says, the daughters of Egypt shall be confounded. He just talking about the nation, shall be delivered unto the hands of the people of the north. That means that if you don't do what God is calling you to do, he'll give you over. He'll give you over to somebody that's greater than you, that will confound you and cause you to be what you shouldn't be. Like he did the nations. He'll have another nation take over your nation. See what I'm trying to say? Just like he did with Jeroboam and Joram. See what I'm trying to say? He'll give it to somebody else. It says, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saith, behold, I will punish the multitude. He's punishing God of No and Pharaoh and Egypt with their gods. Only thing God is asking us is to put the Lord Jesus Christ on. Do not have another God before him. Not money, not sex, not wealth, not fortune, not nothing. Now you can speak of it. Everybody want to be wealthy and have something, but don't put it before God and their kings and their pharaohs and all them that trust in them.